You know, was this the Final Four that you predicted? Because it certainly wasn't the Final Four that I predicted. I don't know what drag queen witchcraft these heifers conjured up and just put on the judges, but they're here, and you know what? Well deserved, ladies. Let's get into this review. I love how all the queens are playing nice, but then Sasha is just like, I'm sad to see her go, but let's be honest, it was Alexis's time. Thank you, Sasha, for finally telling the truth. I'm so sick of this RuPaul's best friends race. Like, this is a competition that will change your life. Get your head in the game, ladies, and play ball. Peppermint's confessionals are the reason why I wish I would have voted for her for Miss Congeniality. No shade, Eureka, but she is so warm. I feel like she's the heart of the show. She's a fantastic performer, and her confessionals give me life. Out of everybody else, because, you know, this show, I live for the confessionals, but to me, Peppermint has had the best confessionals, because in her confessionals, she's just like, I may have to resort to other means. And then she thinks about it and she's just like, I don't know what that means. And then the producer's like, that sounds kind of Tanya Harding-ish. And I was just hollering because she's just so funny. She just has the best confessionals out of everybody this season. I think a couple people had a couple fun reads. Peppermint and Trinity, to me, best confessionals of this season. End of the line. And of course, the ladies are going to do the normal trek to the crown walk that they have to do. They're going to perform one of RuPaul's songs, and then they're going to sit with RuPaul on her podcast, and I guess just have a little talk about their journey and where they're going to go next in drag. Have you noticed that Ru's makeup is really light in her podcast, like especially right here? It's so light, and I'm just like, is it the lighting or the makeup? It has to be the lighting, because Raven wouldn't make that mistake. Raven has the first podcast interview with RuPaul. And honestly, this entire season, I think we all have been just heartbroken by the fact that Peppermint felt shunned by the drag community. But as she gives the story a bit more, you find out that it was one drag queen that said that to her, that she would never work again. And I get it, it was a top drag queen. But I think she misinformed the audience when she said that she was shunned by the drag community. Because I know for me, I was just like, I can't believe they would shun her. And I'm having this whole idea, and then as she speaks a bit more, you find that it was one top queen, and I'm just like, girl, you got to be specific. You know what I mean? You had me feeling a certain way about the drag community, and they didn't shun you. A top drag queen did. Okay, understandable, but be specific, especially when you're on national TV sending pitchforks to the wrong audience. Then we move on to the recording for RuPaul's song category is, which I love. I had no idea that this was one of her songs, and through my research, I found out that this is not a widely released song, that you can only find it on like one of her albums if you buy it, but she never really put a lot into it, and I don't know why she didn't put a lot into releasing the song, because I was bopping, okay? The category is word. Now it's time for the queens to start recording their part on, and they had to write like an original part that they would add and remix it into the song, because this part that they were going to add is actually about them. So our girl Trinity, Mother can slay a dress, but she cannot slay a rap. Mother was struggling. Like, she couldn't get the words together. She couldn't get the beat together. And she was kind of defeated, and I could totally understand why. The drag community called Sasha Velour's father Papa Velour. That was so sweet to learn about her in the podcast. Time for our girl Peppermint to record her part of the RuPaul category is remix, and of course Mother slayed. Mother slayed, like, it was so good. And it was like her first take, and Todrick was just like, okay, coming for my job, maybe. And this porta potty placement, sis, if you don't stop, are they one of the sponsors? I'm not hating, because I got a porta potty and it has changed my life. If you see, my jawline is starting to come in. Thanks, porta potty. Sasha is struggling in her remix with Todrick, and she gets a little catty with him in the beginning, but then she finally gets it together, and she's able to pull out something that is actually really, really interesting. I think the thing with Sasha is that has probably held her back a little bit in the competition is that she thinks that everybody in the drag community is against her. Her and Peppermint think that everybody is against her when it's really like all up here, you know what I mean? Because she's coming in and Todrick is giving her tips on how to stay within rhythm, but then she's thinking it's an attack on her drag, and he's just like, no, I'm just trying to get you on beat. The queens this season were very heady. A lot of them were caught up in their head and their own insecurities, and I don't know if they were specifically chosen for this season because of that maybe mental illness or tearing yourself down or counting yourself out before you even get to the competition was something that the producers were looking for this season, because each season has a theme. So I don't know if that was the theme, like mental illness in the gay community, or I don't know if that was the theme, but it's very interesting because a lot of the queens have their biggest battle is up here, a lot of them. And you know Shay slayed. Give my girl the crown now. We get to the actual rehearsal for the performance of Category Is with Todrick Hall. And of course the ladies are struggling and they're going to show you, I think they show you like the first few minutes of the rehearsal so you can, I guess, kind of trick the audience to think who may be going home and it's actually not accurate. Because of course our girl Trinity is struggling. Sasha is struggling as well, but I feel like, and Sasha has never shown this on this season, I feel like Todrick gave her complicated dance moves that were far too complicated for what she could do. And I get that this is the final four, but not every queen knows how to vogue. Like, voguing is very, very difficult. If you are able to vogue flawlessly, you already have a rhythmic talent. Like, I can, you know, try to do vogue and I just look like I'm like flailing down a taxi or a fire truck. You know what I mean? It's very, very difficult to do. And if you're not crafted that way, if you haven't been trained in it long enough, and if it's something that you haven't been doing for a very long time, you just don't get it. And there were a lot of times where I felt like Sasha was about to break her back trying to get these movements in, and I'm like, Todrick, you know you could have gave that to Shea Coulee or somebody else, but not Sasha and Trinity. You know those girls don't move like that. It was a really dangerous season for the queens. I swear they was having them do some physical stuff that I have never seen them do on other seasons, and I don't know why they thought that this was a season where they want to test the queen's athleticism. From what I see from this rehearsal, Shay and Peppermint about to slay. Yay for Shay. Trinity is so messy. You know what? I love RuPaul's dress. Like, when she walked out, I was just like, oh my goodness, this is such a great dress. But I wasn't gagging. And I feel like a dress like that, I should have been gagging. But I was like, oh my goodness, this is really nice. And then as I'm looking at the dress and I'm wondering why I'm not getting that, you know, that, oh my gosh, because it's a beautiful dress, I realized I've seen that dress before. This is the best Michelle Visage has ever looked, from the makeup to the hair to the dress. I was gagging. Like, everything just worked so well for her. I love when Michelle wears her hair down like bone straight. I really, really do, because it just crops her face so beautifully. And she honestly looked a lot younger than she normally does with this hair and this makeup. So whatever direction this is that you're going in, Michelle, stay there. You look great. Before we get to the runway, we get to the group performance. Let me tell you something, like I predicted, Shea Coulee and Peppermint kill. Peppermint comes out in like every movement. Everything is just flawless. Sasha did a really good job as well, but I felt like at the end she was struggling with the voguing, which she was struggling with at rehearsal, which I still think was very difficult for somebody who is not a voguer to do. Like, I just felt like it was just way too difficult for her, and she got it together. Like, with the rest of her choreography, she was on point. But when they got to the voguing and the, you know, dip at the end, the death drop, Mother was struggling. Understandable. Trinity was good as well, and I get that they filmed, like, you know, early in the rehearsal, so they want to throw us off, but I mean, they had her looking a hot mess, and she really showed up and came through. But then we get to my girl Shea Coulee. Oh gosh, I'm sorry, that was a huge reaction. But everything that she did, I just had to keep on rewinding back to see her movement. She killed it for me. I'm telling you, if she don't get this crown, I'm gonna think that this game show is rigged, because why wouldn't she? Everything she does is on point. The only time she ever like fell short was when she was dressing Bae Coulee, but she looked fabulous. Trinity did a good job in this musical number. I hated her wig. I don't know, it wasn't the color. I just think the way it was put on, it just looked really, really bad, and it took away from the makeup. She had great makeup, but the wig just looked very amateur. Now it's time for the runway, and Trinity killed. When she walked out in that dress, I think Rue gasped, because I know I sure did. The dress was gorgeous. I loved the hair. Sorry, my own hair is getting in my face. Natural hair, but I loved her hair. I loved her makeup. This is the best that Trinity has ever looked for me. I think she's had some really great looks, but this was such a showstopper. Just the way she walked and just sashayed down that runway, the hair, everything worked so well together. And what I liked about this was that Trinity was leaving out as who she is, a pageant queen. But it wasn't overlooked how much she has grown, because when Trinity came into this competition, she was just a pageant queen. But for me, I feel like she's grown into a comedy queen as well. Like, she tapped into places in her as a performer that she didn't know that she had. But I love that she left out in her true form, pageant queen. Everything about it was just, it was such a showstopper. I was enamored. Shay, give my girl the crown now. There was nothing negative to me about this entire outfit. I loved everything. Hair, makeup, down to the shoes. Mother just looked fabulous. Carlton Cressley's star jacket. If anybody knows where he got that from, please put it in the comment section below, because baby, I need that jacket. Brother was slaying. Star on the shoulder. That's all. Peppermint. Love her as a performer. Hated this dress, and I felt like she used her RuPaul's Drag Race roast hair, and I would have liked to have seen her do something fresh and new, since this is what she's leaving out in. But the dress and the hair, none of it worked for me. I didn't like any of it, and I was so sad because it took away from the great performance that she did in the category is group performance. So to see her sashay and this like Disneyland performer gown, it just read cheap and very costumey, and I hated the hair because I saw it before, and it was a showstopper then. It's not a showstopper now because this is your final runway, so I just wanted to see her go further or farther, whatever, and just do better, and I didn't see it in this runway. I love her drag. I love her drag. I love her drag. Sasha came in and she left out exactly as who she is. She is that, she's a different kind of drag queen, very smart drag queen. Like everything that she does, there is a story behind it. Like the crown, the dress, the bedazzled tears. She's so creative and so smart. I loved her from the first episode, and I still love her now. I don't think she's going to win the crown, but I'm glad that she's in the final four because she should be. Shay, I loved her look. I love everything that she did and put together. But for me, Trinity was the winner of the night on the runway. I loved everything that she did. So now we get into the words of wisdom to your younger selves. And honestly, this part always makes me cry. Peppermint broke me. The way she was just bawling and crying and speaking to her younger self. You could really, for me, I felt like she was really getting free and just being very open and honest with who she is, and just to speak to her younger self. I think she was, reliving all that pain again, but I'm just glad that she is finally able to be who she is, and I hope and pray that that pain just was released on that stage, and that she is just walking in her newness and, enjoying life. Shea Coulee was such an adorable kid, but baby, Trinity's kid pick had me howling. I mean, it looked like Trinity. Like that picture of Trinity in that whole windbreaker outfit with her like posted up on the side, I was just like, yep. Trinity been Trinity from day one. She didn't have to grow into Trinity. Trinity has always been Trinity. I love how in the end, like each queen gives RuPaul why they deserve or want to be America's next top drag superstar. And everybody gave these very like sweet, PC answers. Shea Coulee was just like, I deserve this. I've done the best. Give me the crown. I was like, girl, yes. And then we get to the final lip sync, and it's all the ladies lip syncing. And I've always hated this because you can never really focus on each queen individually. But I don't even think it mattered because Ru ended up sending all the girls to the final competition. So we have a final four in the finale. So, and honestly, guys, I kind of think that we have a final four because Ru wants Peppermint to perform. Because in my opinion, Peppermint should have went home. Like if Ru was going to cut anybody, it should have been Peppermint, because Peppermint doesn't have the same report card as all the other queens, but Peppermint is a fabulous performer, and Ru wanted that girl to hit the stage. And if not for ratings, but also to give her an opportunity. I think that RuPaul is a great person. I've seen on Twitter some people critique her, and I'm just like, I think she's done great things for the LGBT community, especially the drag community. So I find no faults in her. But I do think that she was, that Trinity is a ratings grab. And also I think it'll give her a great opportunity. So I think it's a win-win for the both of them. And I've also heard, I think it's just a rumor, but I also heard that Trinity might win. And here is why I think that each queen might win. I think Sasha might win because she's different. And if you go back through other seasons, they've only had about, throughout the 8 seasons, they've only had about 3 different queens. And I feel like they feel like maybe it's time to get another weird queen out there. Her drag is just different. You haven't really seen it before. And I feel like she is, if Acid Betty didn't give up some support in the competition, she would be where Sasha is. You know what I mean? Like, she's our Acid Betty, and and not saying that their drags are completely the same. They differ in a lot of ways, but I feel like, you know, if Acid Betty would have went full force, she would be where Sasha is. And I feel like that's maybe why she might win. I feel like for Peppermint, she might win because of the trans storyline, and because it sheds a light on the trans community, especially in the drag community. And just, you know, since they're being a minority within a minority, I think that maybe that's why they may crown her, just because that's something that we need to talk about. And she would be the voice of that. And she would be able to go into spaces and speak on something that is really foreign within her own community. Trinity, I don't think has a chance at the crown, but I think if they do pick Trinity to win, she will be good at it. She's a pageant queen, so I feel like she has the experience to really hold that crown. And I think that she will also be able to tap a bit more into her comedy, and so that will really help her along with the crown. But I don't think she'll be picked. Shay, I think, will be picked because Shay just has the report card, and Shay is just a phenomenal queen. You really can't go wrong. Really can't go wrong with picking Shay. Like, she rose to the occasion every challenge. But if they go either way with either queen, I think they all did phenomenal. I'm Team Shay. I'm rooting for Shea Coulee, but I wouldn't be upset if any of them got the crown. I enjoyed their journey. I think they all fought and worked hard to get here, and I am just proud of the ladies. So congratulations, Final Four, and I look forward to seeing who will be crowned next week. Now let's get into Untucked. This Untucked is going to be a bit quick because this was the end, so there wasn't a lot of shade or reads, and it was pretty much a love fest backstage. But I did want to talk to you about a few other things, so let's get into this review. Queens are in the back, and they're discussing just everything that was happening with them on stage, and then it's brought up that RuPaul did not gender Peppermint's picture. Like, everybody was given a gender or a name when RuPaul gave them their childhood baby pics or whatever. But with Peppermint, RuPaul was just like, what would you say to your younger self? And I never picked that up until the ladies discussed that. And I was just like, see, this is why Rupaul's such a great person. I really, really loved that. I also enjoyed the Super Fine Season 9. I just love the little catchy things that they were talking about. And I did enjoy the Love Fest. I mean, this is the end, so I totally understand that. And so I just enjoyed them all encouraging each other. I really hope that Trinity and that kimchi comment was about Kimchi, the drag queen, and not about the Asian community, because that read really weird. And the queens, when because they were talking about bathhouses, and Shay was talking about how she'll take him there, and then Trinity was like, and then Kimchi will be sucking on your cock or whatever. And I was just like, you better be talking about the drag queen and not the Asian community, because sis, they lit and you will get dragged. Impromptu runway. Again, another love fest thing, but I didn't care. I just love seeing them all happy and proud of how far they have come, and just really encouraging each other, because they do like this fun little runway, take it to the runway, take it to the runway. I was even taking it to the runway, okay? I enjoyed it. I enjoyed watching the ladies just have a good time. One thing I will say about the queens, they wore their fabulous outfits, and that is why they are the final four. Because when you go back to the workroom and queens are eliminated, everybody's always like, oh my goodness, I should have wore this, oh my goodness, I should have wore that, and they just have a rack of great garments. But the queens, who are the final four, they all put on their best. Even when they were wrapping stuff up, I was just like, I remember that, I remember that. They wore their best. They came to play, and that is why they are the final four. However, I did see a fabulous rainbow outfit on Sasha's rack, and I'm kind of wishing she would have worn that over the pedestrian, in my Alexis Michelle voice, over that pedestrian outfit that she wore on the runway, that to me wasn't that great until she lifted up her crown and you saw the house with the gay flag. But I wish she would have wore that, because I felt like that would have been more of a showstopper. But maybe it would have been too literal for Miss Sasha. And then we get to the end of Untucked, and all the queens are packing up, and then Sasha and Peppermint walk out, and they both scream at the end, and then the camera goes up to, that was such a sweet moment for me because this is the end of the journey. This is the end of our journey. I'm so sad. But I did enjoy this season. I really did. If you noticed in the beginning, I was just like, I can't see it for them because I was in love with season 8. But I really grew to love a lot of these queens here, and really a lot of their stories pulled me in. And I'm excited for All Stars, and I'm also excited for this show to come back for season 10 because our girl Eureka is going to be on. And I'm hoping that when it comes back, that I know the show probably won't go back to Logo because I don't know how many seasons VH1 boarded for, but I'm hoping that it goes back to the way it used to be in some aspects where, one, we get Untucked on TV right after the show because it makes it so much easier for viewers and reviewers to have all that tea right away instead of waiting 24 hours the next day, a Saturday morning, which for a lot of us is our errand day or our, hangout day. So that's a leisure day for a lot of us. So we don't want to be in the house watching TV, especially at 8 a.m. in the morning. I also hope we get to the separate Untucked rooms where the queens who are safe go in one room and the queens who are awaiting elimination go in one room, and they were these glammed up rooms, and I just felt like it created a better show in my opinion. But I did enjoy what I saw. I do want the pit crew to come back though. I miss the pit crew, and I miss the old challenges. I feel like we had a few mini challenges, and I think we had some big challenges, but they were just, a lot of them focused on physicality, and I wanted more creative challenges. So I'm hoping we get bigger creative maxi challenges, and then we still get mini challenges on each show. I really enjoyed that as well, and I hope we get back to that. All in all, I'm still a fan of the franchise. I will be tuning in for every Drag Race All-Stars, Season 10, everything that RuPaul has going on in the drag world. I will be tuning in because I'm a fan and I enjoyed watching it and I enjoyed reviewing it. And if you like what you see here, please like, comment, subscribe, and share, and I will see you for another review of something else. Thank you for joining me, guys. See you soon. Bye. Penis!